saying, I've never done a book signing like this. First of all, I gotta correct the name. Everybody says
It's in the book too.
it's Carmine Appice. I've been going by since 1976. And I have a new manager that just took over my group Cactus and Ella Fudge, and he calls me Carmine Appice. I said, man, dude, it's Carmine. It's an E at the end of M-I-N. But yeah, I remember Dave coming on the stage. I just did the Sweden Rock Festival. As Dave knows, there's a lot of people there. And the Thursday night we played with Vanilla Fudge, and we went on just before Queen. And then the Saturday night I played with King Cobra. So it was pretty interesting.
Unbelievable.
There's two kinds of music. So. Anyway, I did write this book, Stick It. I wrote it with this guy. Here it is. It's called Stick It, but the rest of the title is My Life of Sex, Drums, and Rock and Roll. So anybody here under 18, I don't know if you should read this book. In England, they have the Parents Advisory sticker on it. They didn't do that here. So whenever I sign it, I see like young ladies or just women buying it. Are you old enough to read this? And it gets some pretty graphic, crazy stuff. But you know what? I tried to be honest with the actual book. And a lot of authors, they read chapters out of the book. I don't really do that. You know, I just like to tell stories. So this is more like a storytelling thing. And if you've got any questions, let me know. And then at the end, we'll sign books. People will buy the books. I don't know how many books they got. You got a lot of people here. But hopefully everybody will buy a book. Don't do like him. Buy one book and pass it around. Okay?
It was a bass player. I had to give it to the bass player.
I know. But anyway, so if you do have a question, you have to come up to the front because, you know, I didn't wear ear condoms. I have hearing aids. So, seriously, my hearing is bad, so I didn't bring the hearing aids today. But they're all the same. Top end, right?
Exactly right.
When I went to the hearing test, they said, your top end is bad. I said, yeah, is that like with women's voices on? He says, yeah, I go, that's good. Anyway, so my girlfriend keeps saying, why don't you wear them? You know, but I do sometimes. But I don't wear them here because, you know, it's too loud for PA. And you're wearing yours now. Yeah. Okay, so let's get started. So I just tell a few stories from the book, just to give you a vibe of what the book's like. And I'm going to tell you about the first chapter. First of all, the introduction to the book was written by Rod Stewart. You know Rod Stewart, right? Yeah, he's I know Rod since 1968, you know, and played with him for 7 years, and we've been friends ever since. And he did a great job with the introduction, and actually, the funny part in there, says, we fired Carmine, then F-U-K, know why. I don't know why, you know, kind of thing. But he's a cool guy. Anyway, but I'm going to tell a story about my days with Ozzy. Okay, because you know, Ozzy now, you can't even talk to him. He's like,
That's a fascinating chapter.
it is fascinating because it's unbelievable. Because really, you know, Sharon Osbourne runs his life. You know, lately, everybody, when my book came out, the press was that Ozzy and Sharon were getting divorced because he had some relationship with somebody. And I said, that can't be. This has got to be a PR deal. It was a PR deal for the new TV show. But anyway, so I was asked to join Ozzy's band. I was an endorsement gig for a thing called Symphonic Drums. I was on in France, south of France. And I was there hanging out, doing a convention. And I got a call from my manager and said, Sharon's looking for you. I said, what did I do? You know? She goes, I think she wants you to join Ozzy's band. I said, really? So they persuaded me to go from France to London to meet with Ozzy and meet with Sharon, which I did. And everything was fine, you know. Like, she was like real nice, and he was, you know, I know Ozzy since, you know, 1970. And we did a gig in Asbury Park, funny enough. It was Black Sabbath headline, Cactus, and a group called Steel Mill under that. And that was Bruce Springsteen. And I said, you gotta be kidding me. Bruce Springsteen opened for me. That's great. So we discussed the whole thing, and I said, look, one thing I just want to tell you, if we tour America, I do these things called master classes, where I would go into a music store and I would teach, maybe 50 people, drums in the afternoon, and then at night go to the arena and play the arena. And they said, fine. I said, I get a lot of press doing that, and it's a really cool thing for the tour. It's a cool thing for me, and I used to give money from the master class to UNICEF, which is a charity, and everything was great. So we went to the European tour first, and that went great. Then when we started doing the American tour, I started doing these master classes, and I had a manager here. I had my own merch on the tour, I had the Carmine t-shirt, and I had a PR person. So the PR person would be getting a lot of press because, when you play a big arena and then you go into a music store and you do, you teach kids for 50 kids and you give money to UNICEF, it's kind of a human interest story. So all the press was like eating it up. And so all the press sort of was eating it up. And at that time, Ozzy had urinated on the album. So none of the press people wanted to talk to Ozzy because they were aggravated. But they were talking to me. So I would do press. I would get like full-page articles in the daily newspapers all around the country. So it started in Maine. We did, I did probably 6 or 8 weeks with him. By about the 4th week, I get Sharon coming up to me saying, it seems like you're very, very tired on the shows. I said, I am? Meanwhile, Motley Crue's our opening act. Okay, this is when Motley Crue was coming up. And I knew, I used to hang out with those guys, and I knew they were out for blood, man. They were ready to blow Ozzy off the stage every night. So I'd be ready to go on stage, and I'd get to the side of the stage with Ozzy, and I see Ozzy go, I go, what's the matter, Oz? He goes, come on, wake up. Motley's going to blow us off tonight. Let's go kick some butt. And he goes, oh, I'm bloody knackered, mate. Knackered means I'm tired in English. I'm knackered, right? She's got me working all day doing this PR stuff, and I'm tired. I said, okay. So I said to her, I'm not tired. I think your husband's tired, So anyway, so that went on and on. Then one day, we played Cincinnati, and this was an interesting day because I had a full-page article in the newspaper, and in the article they asked me, what's the biggest effect in the show? I said, it's the drum solo. Not because I'm playing it. I said, any drummer that's on the tour that plays it would get the same effect. And they said, what's the effect? I said, I'm up on a 15-foot riser. It looked like stairs in a giant castle. Okay, and stairs would open up. The drums would come down on a track all the way to the front of the stage, and that's where I would do my solo. And then it would go back up, and pyro would hit before I get up, and huge effects. So they printed that, and I said, but it wasn't my idea, it was Sharon and Ozzy's idea. This was their show, So, okay, so I go do my master class, I come back, and backstage, there is maybe 50 copies of that article all around backstage, hung up on them, in an arena. You got like the garage area where the cars pull in, and then you got dressing rooms and hallways, and this thing was up everywhere. I just thought, it's English humor, they were, as we say in New York, busting my chops, and I thought nothing of it. Then my roadie comes up to me and says, hey, CA, he used to call me. I said, what's up, Andre? He goes, and this guy was 6'2", and he stood like this.
What was his name again?
Andre.
Andre, yeah.
There was a problem, because he was blonde hair, he looked like a Viking.
Yeah.
He stood there like that, he goes, we have a problem, CA. I go, what's the problem? He holds up one of my t-shirts. And the head was cut off my t-shirt, of my body. The head was cut off. I said, oh, so what? He goes, every t-shirt's like this. I said, get out of here. So, I couldn't believe it. So I go up to the tour manager, I go, with the shirt, I go, who F did that? And he goes, this is the title of the actual chapter says, Ask Sharon. I went,